On the morning of Wednesday, August 19, 2026, federal agents moved on a residence on Sherman Avenue in Albany, New York. Inside a modest home in this quiet Capital Region neighborhood, investigators say they found a 35-year-old woman who believed she had just acquired the final piece of a plan months in the making. An explosive device she intended to detonate inside the New York State Capitol. She never got the chance. What agents handed her that morning was not a working bomb. It was inert. It had been placed in her hands by the FBI itself, the final act in a months-long undercover operation designed to determine exactly how far she was willing to go. This is the story of United States v. Jessica Bowie, a case built entirely on her own words, recorded conversations, and a woman who, according to federal prosecutors, told an undercover source she wanted to destroy as much of her state's capital as possible and kill the lawmakers inside it. Jessica Bowie is not a stranger to Albany. Court records and local reporting describe her as having ties to both Albany and nearby Schenectady. She is the mother of 2 boys. People who knew her before the events of this case describe a woman with a documented history of mental health struggles, a detail now surfacing in local reporting as investigators, prosecutors, and eventually a jury will be asked to weigh what role, if any, that history played in the months that followed. According to reporting from the Albany Times Union, Bowie converted to Islam approximately 5 years before her arrest. Conversion itself is not evidence of anything. Millions of Americans convert to Islam every year and practice their faith peacefully. What federal investigators allege happened next is what makes this case different. A documented, self-recorded pledge of loyalty to a designated foreign terrorist organization, and a stated intention to act on it. Bowie's brother Lance Haynes was previously arrested by Albany police in 2012 in connection with narcotics and counterfeit merchandise found at a Lark Street storefront he operated. That case is unrelated to the charges Bowie now faces. It is mentioned only because local reporting has connected the two, and this channel believes in giving you the complete picture, as it has been reported in the public record. Federal investigators say their attention was first drawn to Jessica Bowie months before her arrest, after reviewing social media accounts that authorities identified as belonging to her. According to the criminal complaint filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of New York, one account attributed to Bowie posted the words, "Praise be to Allah" for September 11th. Another post, according to the same complaint, read, "When I can migrate, I will poison these infidels." These posts were not private messages. They were shared publicly on accounts that investigators say contain subscriber information matching Bowie's date of birth and cell phone number, details that allowed law enforcement to connect the online activity directly to her. The complaint also alleges that Bowie recorded her bay'ah, the formal Islamic oath of allegiance, and disseminated that recording to others online. Federal prosecutors say this pledge was made specifically to ISIS, a group the United States designated a foreign terrorist organization more than a decade ago. It's worth pausing here to be precise about what a bay'ah is, because this case will turn on that word repeatedly. It is a traditional oath of allegiance within Islamic tradition, historically sworn to a leader or cause. In the context of ISIS recruitment, federal law enforcement has treated a recorded bay'ah as a significant marker. Evidence, prosecutors argue, that a person has moved from expressing sympathy to formally aligning themselves with the organization's structure and its aims. According to the Department of Justice, this alleged pledge was made in May of 2026. 1 month later, in July of 2026, the investigation entered a new and more active phase. According to court records, a confidential FBI source began communicating with Bowie on an encrypted platform. This source was presented to Bowie as an ISIS facilitator, someone positioned within the organization's network who could assist with her stated ambitions. Over the following 2 weeks, prosecutors allege, Bowie discussed with this source her plans to attack the New York State Capitol building in Albany. It is important to understand what this kind of operation is and what it is not. An undercover sting does not manufacture intent, it tests it. The FBI did not approach a random member of the public and suggest a target. According to the government's own complaint, Bowie was the one who had already expressed the anti-American sentiment. She was the one who had already recorded a pledge to a terrorist organization. The confidential source's role, as described in the complaint, was to engage with a plan that investigators say Bowie was already forming, and to document every step of it. That distinction will almost certainly become central to how this case is argued in the months ahead, and any responsible account of it has to name that tension directly, rather than pretend it isn't there. Between July 21st and August 9th of 2026, according to federal prosecutors, Jessica Bowie visited the New York State Capitol grounds on at least 5 separate occasions. If you're watching till now, kindly like and subscribe. She was not there as a tourist. According to the Department of Justice, Bowie photographed the building from multiple vantage points, including from an observation hall inside the complex. Investigators say these images were later recovered and included as evidence in the case. Among them a photograph released by the Department of Justice showing an individual dressed entirely in black, holding up a phone, apparently capturing images of the building's interior. During this same period, prosecutors say Bowie described her intended target in her own words. According to the complaint, she told the confidential source, "I want to destroy as much of the building as possible, and kill the senators while they are meeting. I want them to lose a lot of important documents as well." In a separate exchange cited in the same complaint, she is alleged to have said, "I wanted to have a big effect on the American system, and destroy some of the Taghut." The word Taghut appears in Islamic theological and jihadist rhetoric to describe idolatry, or more specifically any authority or system viewed as illegitimate and standing in opposition to religious law. Its use in extremist messaging is well documented by counterterrorism researchers, and its appearance here, according to the federal complaint, is presented by prosecutors as further evidence of ideological motivation behind the alleged plot. According to reporting from CNN, Bowie also described her desired outcome for the attack itself. In a message to the informant, she reportedly wrote, "I would like to target the state capitol, but ideally in a way I could get away with, and hop on a plane after, but IDK if it's doable." The Department of Justice states that investigators learned Bowie intended to carry out the attack, and then flee to join ISIS-controlled territory abroad. According to the criminal complaint, Bowie's communications with the informant continued to escalate. She is alleged to have asked the confidential source for direct assistance in making explosives to carry out the attack, and then to have deleted those messages afterward, an action prosecutors will likely point to as evidence of consciousness of guilt. On August 19, 2026, according to the FBI, Bowie took possession of what she believed to be a functioning explosive device. It had been supplied by law enforcement. It was inert. She was arrested that same day. FBI Special Agent in Charge Craig Tremoroli, head of the Albany field office, stated publicly that Bowie was apprehended as she gained possession of the device, with the stated intent of targeting the New York State Capitol and sitting New York State senators. According to ABC News, Bowie made a striking statement of her own, reportedly telling the informant at one point, "Material support is up to 20 years in prison. I already Googled it before. I know I'm going to jail." If that statement is accurately attributed to her, it suggests a defendant who understood, at least in part, the legal consequences she was risking, a detail that will likely surface again during any future sentencing discussion, should this case proceed to a plea or conviction. On August 20th, 2026, Jessica Bowie made her initial appearance in federal court in Albany, before U.S. Magistrate Judge Daniel J. Stewart. She was formally charged with one count of attempting to provide material support or resources to a designated foreign terrorist organization. She did not enter a plea at this hearing. Her court-appointed attorney did not seek bail at this stage of the proceedings, though defense counsel retains the right to request it later. Her attorney has declined to comment publicly on the case. Bowie was ordered detained pending further proceedings. The single charge she faces carries a statutory maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison, a fine of up to $250,000, and a lifetime term of supervised release should she ultimately be convicted. First Assistant U.S. Attorney John A. Sarcone III, who leads the Northern District of New York's prosecution team on this case, framed the arrest in a public statement as a demonstration of federal law enforcement's capacity to identify and disrupt threats before they can cause harm. FBI Special Agent in Charge Tremoroli echoed that framing, stating that the alleged plot was serious and dangerous, and crediting the Joint Terrorism Task Force with stopping it. The investigation involved the FBI, the U.S. Secret Service, Homeland Security Investigations, the New York State Police, the Albany County Sheriff's Office, and the Albany Police Department. The prosecution is being handled by trial attorney Ryan White of the Justice Department's National Security Division, alongside Assistant U.S. Attorneys Richard Bellis and Joseph Hartunian. Every claim you have heard in this documentary comes directly from the criminal complaint, from the Department of Justice's own press release, or from court testimony and statements made by federal officials on the record. Jessica Bowie has not entered a plea. She has not stood trial. Under the law of the United States, she remains presumed innocent unless and until the government proves its case beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. What remains unanswered, for a jury and eventually for the public, is the question this case will ultimately turn on: whether the words captured in these encrypted conversations reflect a fully formed intent to kill, or whether they reflect something more complicated, shaped in part by the mental health history now surfacing in the reporting around this case. That is not a question this documentary can answer. It is the question a federal courtroom in Albany, New York, will now be asked to decide. We will continue following this case as it moves through the federal court system, and we will update you as new information becomes part of the public record. Subscribe to Behind the Case File for more true crime investigations covered with accuracy and respect.